as we get ready for the Kings season. I mean, Chris, this is a highly anticipated season, man. Highly anticipated, at least as far as I'm concerned. And what games are you anticipating the most? I said it was Chris. It was actually Nate who has some games for us to go over and discuss which ones you are the most excited about. And we can go other. I'm sure there's other.
Well, if it's your favorite game, it should be other.
Right? That's right. That's right. All right, Nate, what you got?
Well, opening night's pretty awesome. It's cool that the Kings are opening up in Golden One Center. I believe, what is that, 3 years in a row now they've done that?
No,
or 2?
They didn't open up last
year.
They were in Utah
last
year.
Okay, but the opener was against Portland, right?
No, Utah.
No, but in Golden One?
I don't remember.
Okay, all right. All right. Well, whatever. Hey, well, good start. Good start. They got Minnesota opening night, which is really cool. Should be a fun one. You would think both these teams are going to be in the hopefully top 4 of the West, right? It'll be exciting to see Ant here at Golden One, as it always is. But the one I guess that really stuck out to me is February 21st, which is a Friday, and that is the first game back after All-Star break, and it's against Golden State. So hopefully the Kings are healthy and ready to go. Hopefully they're wearing the throwback unis that night. That would be really cool. I don't know when they're going to introduce those. Do you guys know when they drop the jersey? There's a jersey schedule, isn't there?
I thought they did.
Yeah, they announced it at some point. They announced some of the games yesterday, but not all of the games for yesterday.
Regardless, Friday night against Golden State after the All-Star break. I mean, hopefully we're seeing Fox and Sabonis at the All-Star break. It's that one I think is probably the one I have with the biggest circle around it.
Yeah, I still can't really find a team off the top of my head, or two teams where there is, I guess, from an outside standpoint. Obviously, we're in Sacramento, but even when I guess I was in the Bay, so it's the same difference, just on the other side. But I'm just trying to think of other teams that I just truly don't care about at all, and what rivalries would make me want to watch. And I'm pairing that up against how I talk to people that aren't connected to the Warriors or the Kings, and how excited they are to watch Warriors Kings, because I'm trying to think off the top of my head, just other rivalries where I'm a basketball fan, my team isn't playing, but I have to watch this game. I still don't think there's anything like it, especially because of the proximity and things like that. I mean, Lakers Celtics to me doesn't hit the same way. I think at one point Grizzlies Warriors, I think that's done now, and obviously the Bay has that connection. But I'm just trying to think, Chris,
what about when it comes to playoff implication, later in the season when it's the 1 and 3 in the West going against each other? Is that something that you'll be like, all right, I have to watch this tonight?
Yeah, I think once there's stuff on the line, but I think that's the whole point, right? I'm talking about random
teams that hate each other.
Teams that just do not like each other. There's just a level of connection. I know the Suns, they'll pick a team. Devin Booker, they'll pick a team to beef with, and even going to the East with the Sixers. I don't know. They're good matchups that I'll watch, but just the pageantry, I guess you could say, of the rivalry, I don't think there's anything like Kings Warriors.
Yeah, well, another one I have here is April 13th, which is a Sunday afternoon game, 12:30, against the Suns. Phoenix Suns are coming to town. Last home game of the year. Hopefully that game has both the little bit of hatred, a little bit of playoff implication. I mean, you got to assume by that time everyone will be playing for Phoenix. Hopefully they're all healthy, right? I mean, just to be nice, you want everyone to be healthy and go against the Kings, and maybe they'll have implication for a specific spot. It'll be tight enough in the West. That one should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, though I really like opening night. I think that's always just a really fun night. It being against Minnesota is going to be a really big game. It's also the first and pretty much only home game for a while. I know they play Portland the following Monday, but then they go on a 5-game road trip and then aren't home again until November 6th. So that opening night's going to be a big one. Also, just obviously want to get a big win in the start of the season. And the two games that I have circled, March 24th and March 25th, end of the season at home, back to back, Boston, and then against OKC. It's kind of right before an easier stretch to end the season. They end the season with a 10-game stretch of Portland, Orlando, Indy, Washington, Charlotte, Cleveland, Detroit, and then home for Denver, Clippers, Phoenix. That little 6-game road trip of Orlando, Indy, Washington, Charlotte, Cleveland, and Detroit, those have to be wins. If the Kings can end the season on a nice little, 5-1, 6-0, 4-2 run on the road before coming home and playing Denver, Clippers, Phoenix, I think that would go a really long way. And those Boston OKC games I mentioned, March 24th and 25th, back-to-back, those are really the last two tough tests before you go on that easier stretch. If the Kings can get those two wins or one of those two wins, even just splitting it, which is going to be tough with it both with it being the front end of a back-to-back and then obviously the back end of a back-to-back. If they can get one of those wins heading into that road trip, I think that's how you set yourself up at the end of the year to maybe leapfrog some teams. You know, last year the Kings had a pretty brutal end to their schedule. I think even ending Denver, Clippers, Phoenix isn't ideal, but the fact that leading into that end of the season, you do have a couple easier opponents leading into that, I think is a really, really important stretch of games. Kind of similar last year when we look at those two Dallas games, the back-to-back where infamously, I guess at this point, Luka falls on Malik gets down, and then the next game, Luka has the point at Vlade and you should have drafted me games. I kind of look at the Boston OKC games a little bit like that, where it's a good kind of final test leading into that postseason stretch. Who are you as a team? How good are you? And what can we realistically expect when you are going to be playing some of the tougher opponents in about that'll be about 3 weeks out from playoff basketball. I think that's going to be a really good sign as to where exactly the Kings are as a team against Boston, against OKC, both games at home. The OKC game on the Tuesday is going to be on TNT. That's a really big opportunity for this team to show to the entire nation exactly where they're at.
December 19th, too, the Kings have not back-to-back teams. They have the Lakers on the 19th, and then I also got the 21st. That's coincidentally my birthday. Lakers on the 19th and 21st, right before Christmas, both at home.
And then on the 28th on the road as well.
Not even a 2-week span. It's what?
It's a 1 week span.
9 days. Yeah, they got the Lakers three times. So I think that should be a lot of fun. And again, potential implication for the playoffs.
Yeah, right after the NBA Cup as well, too. So we'll see how the Kings fare in that as, they got Minnesota, Clippers, Portland, and Houston in the NBA Cup this year. Those games, of course, are going to be ones to watch.
I'm looking at these guys, and I was looking more at 2024, and I'm still stuck on this just as far as not to kind of move the conversation, but I do think that they're going to be a lot of fun games to go to this year for the Kings, and we're going to get into De'Aaron Fox here and really how he can take the next steps on the other side. But I am thinking, as you talk about the humdrum of the NBA season, and obviously we're in the middle of football, and football, you don't really need rivalries as much because there's only 18 weeks and every game's matter, and we know about the urgency. But there really aren't the 2024, the rivalry week that they cooked up for 2024 was January 23rd through the 27th. It was Knicks at Nets, Lakers at Clippers, Suns at Mavericks, Thunder at Spurs, Celtics at Heat, Kings at Warriors, Mavericks at Hawks, Blazers at Spurs, Heat at Knicks, Sixers at Nuggets. Bizarre. And then you had Lakers at Warriors. Do you think that the NBA needs more rivalries? And it's got to be organic, obviously, right? You don't want it to seem fake, and maybe Ja Morant coming back into the fold will help that. But yeah, if there really aren't any games where if you're just a random fan, unless you just want to watch good basketball, there are no real rivalries that are budding right now, honestly, besides Warriors Kings, unless I'm just completely missing something.
Well,
Chris.
yeah, I don't think rivalries are really between teams anymore. I think it's between players. You see it be Steph versus LeBron, Steph versus KD, right? LeBron versus KD. Like it's more so player based than actual teams. And I think that's what people care about especially from a casual perspective. If you don't have a favorite basketball team, then you definitely have a favorite basketball player. And I think that's just how the casual audience cares more so about. And so when you say Denver Sixers, you don't get that rivalry. Well, that's Jokic versus Embiid. And so I think that's kind of where the NBA is starting to go, is as they know it's a player-driven league, and they're the ones that people show up for. And I think that's really what the NBA rivalries are today. That's why they don't really stick out with Lakers, Celtics anymore. It's because, now the same Lakers Celtics team 2 years apart will be completely different casts. So it's tough to even build rivalries because there's not that connective tissue that stays throughout the entire time. Bird versus Magic, those two were figures of those two teams for the entirety of the decade. Nowadays, Larry Bird and Magic might have played in 81, 82, but by 88, it's not even Larry. Larry's out in Cleveland, and Magic is, I don't know, maybe he joined Larry in Cleveland. I think it's just it's really tough to kind of build these amongst teams. And I guess that's why maybe, like you're saying, Kings Warriors seems to be the only team heavy rivalry, but there's definitely, Celtics Knicks, Celtics Sixers. There's a lot of rivalries out there of teams that just straight up don't like each other. Yeah. And we're going to see a lot of it coming up soon. But coming up next, the stars are aligning for one De'Aaron Fox. Will we know if he is an elite number one option by the end of this season? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.